We're back, people. We are back. Your favorite. And I'm telling you, I'm never lying when I say this. Your favorite sports podcast, roaming the airways, rolling with Ramos, is back. I happen to be the one that holds the last name Ramos. I like to specifically thank my daddy for that one. Mike Ramos in heaven. There's not a day, there's not a time, every time, even right now, as I'm talking, that I don't miss you and love you every day. I hope you feel my love even up there. Episode 116. Who's a lot of them things?
That's
I
a
know
lot.
you missed us. Life got in the way. Things happened. We're human. We try to be consistent, but sometimes we got to take a break. He got to take a break. I got to take a break. Stuff happens and we got to cancel. We're back. I hope you was looking for us. And if you weren't, I'm here now. Anyways, episode 116. This week, we pay homage to an American former ice hockey center in the National Hockey League who spent his entire career playing for the league's New York State-based teams. He played for the New York Islanders from 1983 until 1991, the Buffalo Sabres from 1991 until 1997, and the New York Rangers from 1997 until his retirement in 1998, scoring 468 goals and 1,013 points along the way before his career ended by concussions. His 1.17 points per game, 1,013 points over 865 games, is the best among American-born ice hockey players, active or retired. In 2017, he was named one of the 100 greatest NHL players in history. He served as an executive for the Buffalo Sabres as the president of hockey operations until March 2014. Episode 116, the Pat LaFontaine edition. I'm never by myself. You see this logo, but you also see the man to my left because he's to my left on the screen. I know I'm pointing right, but I'm still working on this virtual thing. Tristan, the star. What's up, baby? Another week.
We've been out of this zone for a while. We've been uh we had personal stuff that we had to take care of. You had personal stuff to take care of. I had personal stuff to take care of. So it feels good to be back and talking about sports, and getting this thing underway. So I'm glad that we're able to do this today.
We were quarantined by personal life. I got the shot. I got my first vaccine, and it tore me. Well, it didn't really tear me down, but it made me exhausted, guys.
Right.
That was my side effect, and we couldn't do it. He got a baby on the way. He got to take care of his baby stuff. We human.
That's right.
Things happen, but what we are going to do, which I should make this announcement. The more rolling with Ramos you get, the double rolling with Ramos you get, because instead of having 1 hour show on Tuesdays where we got to plan this long drawn thing, you might not stay with us. You might stay with us. It takes a lot of preparation to go into this. You get double the Ramos, double the Tristan, baby. 2 30-minute segments on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which make an hour. But we will stay in real time. We can give you sports in real time, and we can give you more of the content that we want to kick out to you instead of waiting till the next week after something breaks as soon as we do a show. So we got you some sports. Just stay with us.
That's right.
It was your idea. No, it wasn't. But great.
No, it was definitely your idea, and it was a great idea at that. We get to be engage in talking about sports. We stay up to date with everything. People just see us for 30 minutes and then we get another dose. We're going to be in y'all face, so it's all good. I love the idea. I think it's good. So we hopefully that y'all like the idea and y'all bring people on. Tell them to come through. Come talk to us.
And as we're talking too, one last house rule we got to take care of. One last house announcement. We don't have that long of Tristan. He will take a babycation. He will take a pawcation.
There you go.
I like to call it, because fellas need love too when they have a baby. They need time to adjust. So he's gonna spend some time away. I got somebody that's gonna cover for him, but he will be back. So no doubt about that, right, Tristan? Right on.
All right. Definitely will be back. Definitely will be back. Gotta handle my duties, my daddy duties, my husband duties, take care of my family, make sure everybody's good. But I will be back. And even while I'm gone, I will still be tuning in and listening to everything that's gotta be talked about. I might even chime in on the comments if I feel real passionate about something. So you never know. I'm not gonna be too far away.
Well, we'll make that announcement and we'll tell you who's going to fill in when we get closer to that. As for tonight,
Yeah.
we start with some Major League Baseball. I know you heard it, but you got to hear it from us on how we think about this one. MLB moves All-Star Game to Colorado amid uproar over Georgia voting law. Major League Baseball's 2021 All-Star Game will be played in Colorado's Core Field, the league
Yep.
says, after it canceled plans for Atlanta to host baseball's midseason centerpiece. The change came in response to Georgia's controversial new voting law, which the MLB says is against its values. Georgia's Republican-led overhaul, which supporters say expands some voters' access to early voting, has been widely criticized as hampering access to absentee voting and disproportionately affecting minority communities. Before the change of plans, the Atlanta Braves were eagerly anticipating the All-Star Game as a chance to show off their 4-year-old stadium and also to honor Hank Aaron. That's kind of confusing. But anyways, the legendary Braves hitter who died in January, but those plans were derailed by the controversy over Georgia's new law. President Biden labeled it the Jim Crow in the 21st century. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp recently denounced the MLB move as a figment of cancel culture, saying the league was swayed by activists. The Braves press release is as read. The Atlanta Braves are deeply disappointed by the decision of Major League Baseball to move its 2021 All-Star Game. This was neither our decision nor our recommendation. We are saddened that the fans will not be able to see this event in our city. The Braves organization will continue to stress the importance of equal voting opportunities, and we had hoped our city could use this event as a platform to enhance the decision. Our city has always been a uniter in divided times, and we will miss the opportunity to address issues that are important to our community. Unfortunately, businesses, employees, and fans in Georgia are the victims of this decision. We will continue to support the community legacy projects which have been planned and are in process. Tristan, this comes to you, baby. And make sure y'all drop those comments down below. Make sure you talk to us. Tristan will tell us what you think.
That's
Tristan,
right.
this question comes to you. Did the MLB, the Major League Baseball, get it right? How do you feel about this statement by the Atlanta Braves?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely did it right. I mean, when you really want to think about when the bill was passed, the first thing I thought about was, man, how 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 much have has America fallen where we seem like we're now going backwards in what we're doing. Like there was a time where we had people that were before us, fighting to be able to have the opportunity to vote, to do those things and have those responsibilities, and then all of a sudden now we're getting to a place where uh, uh, now you're saying that it's a possibility that we won't, or that the Georgians don't have a chance. Like that makes no sense to me, and I feel like that's where we're heading towards, is this backwards pre civil rights, as far as voting and what have you. And the Atlanta Braves being a franchise that's there really showed the example and was just like, no, this is not going to be tolerated. We're not going to accept this. This is not right, and we're going to remove our business from you because this is a business move. So we don't believe in the concepts of what you're doing, and we're going to now move our business elsewhere until you guys get yourselves together. And kudos to them for doing so. Like this is what when we look for celebrities and athletes and things like that to make a stand and and speak their mind and speak their voice as far as what we're doing. This is the example that we're talking about here.
How much does it suck for the city of Atlanta? Because when you talk about Atlanta, you think Martin Luther King, you think Coretta Scott King, you think the civil rights movement, you think the one of the foundations of the start of minority movement. And then here we go. It's another big main event that has to be taken from Atlanta. First, it was a Super Bowl, and a lot of artists coming at other artists because they felt that Travis Scott should not have performed. But if anybody knows the Super Bowl, Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, it was an honor to play during the Super Bowl. That's a big event. You got everyone looking at you.
Right.
And all the musical talent, you talking about T.I., you talking about Big Boy and Andre 3000, Outkast, everything that could have been done in Atlanta. It was MLK weekend. It was a Super Bowl. Everything that could be used as a platform for change. Nobody wanted to be a part of it. And here we are again in Atlanta. First of all, shout out to Stacey Abrams, because you're still doing your thing and you ain't even saying nothing. And look what's going on in Atlanta right now in a loss of another big event. What does that mean? What does that represent right there?
What that represents is basically, one, you are in a position where all the governing bodies in Atlanta, all those that are in power, all those that were put on, they really need to really evaluate what they're doing. They need to evaluate, what their example is of who's leading them, who's making these decisions, who are we actually voting for to make these decisions on behalf of the city. Like, this is a stance that the franchises, because we got to remember what the WNBA did. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the stance that's saying what you guys are doing is not acceptable, and we're telling you it's not acceptable. And so you're either going to lose the capital, which is the business that we have, the money that we generate for you guys, or you're going to make some changes in your leadership for us. But we're not going to accept it. So, like, at some point, this has to resonate, and I think with the MLB, it will go a long way. I also believe possibly with maybe if the Falcons got involved with something, if the Hawks got involved with something, it would really start to generate some change to take place. Because the one thing that's going to overpower most things is really the almighty dollar. And once they realize they're not able to capitalize on anything, that's when people are going to start, shifting and shaking some things. So,
shout out to LeBron. We'll talk more about LeBron James later, but shout out to LeBron James too, and the Boston Red Sox. He may not hold much, but he holds enough to try to make some change in there. So, shout out to him. We move on, Tristan, to the NBA, because somebody made their return last week, and it became a big deal. Kevin Durant. It was his first time, Kevin Durant, that he has played in front of the Nets fans at Barclays Center. The last time KD played at home, February 5th, fans were not able and weren't permitted in the building. Prior to his injury, Durant was in the midst of a miraculous season, putting up 29.7.3 rebounds, 5.3 assists, and 1.4 blocks in his 19 total games played. In that time that Durant was out with injury, his Nets had gone 19-4. Kevin Durant came off the bench in Brooklyn's 139-111 win over the New Orleans Pelicans. That is the game that he came back to. The former two-time Finals MVP was greeted by cheers from the limited Nets crowd before hitting the first shot, which was his mid-range shot. He shot a perfect 5 for 5 for the field, finishing 17.7 rebounds and 5 assists. One first question. How good do you feel to see Kevin Durant back? How does it look to you? It's a huh?
Yeah, because if we've watched Kevin Durant for a long time. So if you pay attention to Kevin Durant, his movements and how he moves, how he flows through the court, you could tell he wasn't 100%. You could tell he wasn't fully himself. And that's probably just trying to get himself back in gear. What's scary is that he wasn't 100%, but he was still perfect from the floor. Like, that's what's crazy about it. But he's just an unstoppable weapon. There's nothing you can really do. It's, basically like 7 feet tall, got 7'8" wingspan. He can pull up from everywhere and anywhere that he wants to. He has handles like a guard. There is no shot he can do. He can hit you long range from the perimeter. Mid-range is great. He could take it to the basket. He could finish either hand. I mean, there's just nothing you can do. The only thing that stops Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. So that goes without saying. I mean, that was, I expected that. But to for the Brooklyn Nets to have what they have, it's just you have three guys that on any given night can give you 40, 50 points. Like, because they feel like it. Nothing extra has to happen. There's no astronomical thing that has to take place. They literally can just drop 40 or 50 just cause it's Tuesday. Like that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. But Kevin Durant is an unstoppable force and unstoppable weapon. There's no answer to him.
There's no answer for Kevin Durant, and his emergence as the highest in this league, number 2, some would say, puts us in this situation, Tristan, because as he's been gone and as he's returned, free agency did very well for the Brooklyn Nets, as some would say.
Sure did.
Because now it's him, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Blake Griffin. They've gotten LaMarcus Aldridge. And we can even sprinkle a little DeAndre Jordan in there. Okay, so Kevin Durant's back. They say he's second in command. But there's one guy that kind of sort of gave everybody this formula. And I have a little request. You like math?
I like math.
Okay, well, this is going to be our version of mathematical sports, okay?
Okay.
And make sure y'all answer this too. LeBron James plus Superteams plus the league still equals Lakers in 6.
Yeah, you're right. It does. It still means Lakers in 6. You're absolutely right. With LeBron, everybody wants to go back.
They all did this for LeBron.
I feel like,
in the words of Shannon Sharp, they had to get stacked for him.
People had this conversation with this and were saying like, oh, what about LeBron when he went to Miami and the Heatles and all that stuff? It's like, no. Listen, the Boston Celtics created that team because of LeBron. They could not. Paul Pierce by himself could not get off of LeBron. Like there was just nothing he could do. So from the moment that LeBron has basically stepped into the league, this has been LeBron versus the NBA. It's nothing else because he literally swings the pendulum for franchises. You know what I'm saying? Like for the Cavaliers, you don't even hear about the Cavaliers right now. You know, I was watching the game the other day with some friends of mine. I forgot Kevin Love was still in the league. Like that's how irrelevant the Cavs are without LeBron. But if LeBron was to go back to that team, they'd be the favorite in the East. Like that's literally what look at the landscape. Look at the landscape. Look at what happened. LeBron goes to the Lakers, joins the Lakers, right? Kevin Durant heads east. James Harden heads east. Everybody heading east because LeBron came into the West. And then what did LeBron do in the second year of being in the West? The tougher conference, the conference where the champions really reign. Like that was the talk. What did he do? Win a championship and was the MVP. And really should have been the league MVP at that. So you're really looking at a guy that the entire league has really adjusted the way they create their teams to stop one man. Because it's not like when you really look at LeBron's teams, it's not like he was surrounding himself with like superstars. Like Kyrie is where he is because he learned under LeBron. You know, as great as Anthony Davis is, Anthony Davis wasn't sniffing a conference finals. He wasn't sniffing a finals until what? He got with LeBron. You know, you look at what's his name? It escapes me right now. His name escapes me, but he got championships for players that probably would have never even dreamed of having a title.
Green.
Exactly. Like you wouldn't even have dreamed of it. And he's gotten them championships. They're literally players that may be considered for the Hall of Fame when their career is over because of LeBron. Because of LeBron James.
I wouldn't know who Tristan Thompson is outside of Chloe if he didn't play with.
I mean, it's It's so much that LeBron has contributed to people in the game. And this is not me being a super LeBron lover like that. Don't get me wrong. But when it's in your face, like facts are facts. When you see what's going on, facts are facts. Like LeBron makes the difference for a lot of people. And because the league knows that, the league is like, okay, well, we need to create this squad in order to beat them. Look what the Golden State Warriors had, and he still beat them. Like, there's just the Brooklyn Nets are supposed to win a championship this year, right? Like, all intents and purposes, that's what everybody's saying.
So they saying it's championship or bust.
Championship or bust. Like, what can you do? If LeBron meets the Nets in the finals and LeBron finds a way to beat this squad, I think the conversation is going to be over. I don't know what else.
Throw the whole league away.
I don't know what else
until he wants to retire, until his body just physically breaks down and he can't play basketball anymore.
Exactly. I mean, if he meets them in the finals and wins, I just don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what else LeBron would have to prove. I don't know what else he'd have to do, because I'm just like, if he can beat that team, realize this isn't the Celtics where Kevin Garnett was old, Paul Pierce was old, Ray Allen, still had the shot, but they were like long in the tooth. No. These are prime players. I don't even know if Kyrie's even 30 yet. I can't even remember. Like, these are prime players. James Harden, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving are in their prime, in their apex, flexing, okay? If he can beat this squad, there's just no other conversation to be had. I'm sorry.
Very quickly, Kyrie Irving, personal reasons. Again, will he check out at the wrong time? Hopefully not. Are you still holding your stance on retirement?
I can't. I'd be ignorant to do so. I think so. I saw a show and somebody said, I was watching I Am Athlete. Shout out to that show on YouTube with Brandon Marshall and the crew. That's a really good show. But I was watching it, and one of them said, just as hard as I went, as hard as you go when I was criticizing Kyrie, I got to go just as hard if I'm going to praise Kyrie. I can't say that. Kyrie, this is the best I've ever seen Kyrie play. It's the best I've ever seen Kyrie perform on a basketball court. That man is an absolute wizard. Now, I know he's still got a couple things loose up here, but when he's on that floor, a wizard. I can't even stand by my original stance of him needing to retire the way he's been balling. I just hope he keeps his head on straight enough to go after that championship. But
so you have nothing to say about his one-day sabbatical again? Take all the time you need, just as long as you come back on the court and do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, because when he comes back on the floor, he's getting like 30-something a night. I mean, what if he's doing what I need him to do? It was like the Dennis Rodman effect. You remember when we was watching the documentary?
I mean, Phil let the boy do what he did best. He needed a chance.
Okay, but when he came back, he was ready to rock. So I mean, hey, he's our Dennis Rodman of this era.
It's crazy the different parallels we go from here to here. Because when we first did that, it was like, wait a minute, baby, you can't just be taking off. Like how nobody knows where you at, what you're doing. But somehow the Nets have figured out a way to let him do it, and it works, and it doesn't go against them.
It works.
Very quickly, speaking of we talking about the Celtics and a formal Celtic, in the words of Shaquille O'Neal, I'm with you, baby. Dang, the truth about the truth is he no longer works for the NBA on ESPN.
Listen.
And the truth of the matter is also they just basically told him, look, you can't come and report on us on Sunday and on Saturday be Uncle Luke. So but it's been a lot of people saying he handled this wrong PR wise. He shouldn't have been on everything he's been online doing has been basically, I lost my job and what? I'll figure something else out. He completely thinks he doesn't care. My only question to you, and I know you found this pretty funny too, because we
hilarious. Hilarious.
Keeping it too real. We all know that he works for a conservative company that maybe tries not to say that conservative, but we all know ESPN and Mickey and Minnie. They don't like a lot of nonsense. They don't want to put up with nothing. If anything's exposed that they can't handle, they will chuck you to the right. They will Jazzy Jeff, he hove you like Uncle Phil. They don't want no trouble. And strippers and ESPN don't go well together. But devil's advocate, if he had worked for the NBA on TNT, they would just laugh it off and let him come back to work, right?
Absolutely. He probably get maybe even like a suspension or something, but he'd be back. If he was working with Fox, don't be surprised if he gets a job at Fox. Like, really, don't be shocked if he gets a job at Fox. Like, if he was at Fox, they'd probably say, "Hey, man, take a week off. We'll see you when you come back next week." Like, ESPN is conservative. They're a very conservative broadcast and broadcasting company. And yeah, I thoroughly believed if he was with anybody else, this would be a laughing matter, which it was. I mean, he didn't hurt nobody. He just went on live with strippers and marijuana. Like, he ain't hurt nobody. He ain't do nothing.
He was enjoying his day off.
He ain't do nothing that would like warrant him to go to jail. Nothing. He ain't do nothing wrong. So I mean, yeah, if he was with any other network, it was just so random.
Who knew Paul Pierce?
That was it. It was just like, really? Like,
You are doing this?
like, and then when you see it, it's just like, I mean, it was pure comedy. I mean, shout out to Paul Pierce,
Real low
man.
budget.
Yeah, like shout out to Paul Pierce, man. It's definitely one of those. Is like when keeping it real goes wrong, and it was one of those moments. It was so hilarious, and then for him to like just be carefree, like, hey man, hey, it was like it is what it is. Like, what?
I lost my job on my day off, but I'm gonna be all right.
I'm gonna be all right.
I'm gonna have a bigger party than the one you thought you saw.
Right, right. So it was just that was a really random. That was really random time.
I ain't never like a Celtic, especially Paul Pierce with your little fake Willis Reed imitation.
Never forget.
To get the Lakers. I ain't never liked him since then. However, I love Paul Pierce for a week.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard not to, but oh man, that was so random. It was so random.
Going forward to the NFL, Tristan, the Tennessee State officially named Eddie George as his head coach Tuesday, calling it the right choice and investment for the school and its football program. All I have done has prepared me for this moment, whether that's my football career, my entrepreneurial endeavors, my acting career, George said in a university statement. Coaching is a full commitment, a duty of service, he said. I take that seriously. I've done a lot of soul searching and due diligence. The more I thought about it, I got more and more excited about it. It was like picking up an old guitar or getting back on a bike. It's familiar, but in a different capacity. George played for 9 seasons in the NFL, 8 of those with the Houston Oilers. Everybody got out of Houston except for the Texans. Are we going to get a ding ding? Get your mind right. But anyways, 8 of those with the Houston Oilers / Tennessee Titans. He was 4-time Pro Bowl pick and made 1 Super Bowl appearance. The Titans lost to the Rams 23-16 because he was so close, baby. I remember it. I felt so bad for
him.
Oh, he was right there. Anyways, George is the latest in a line of former NFL players who have gone on to coach at historically black colleges and universities. Deion Sanders is finishing his first session at Jackson State. Doug Williams coached at Grambling State. Ken Riley and Earl Holmes at Florida A&M. Stump Mitchell at Southern and Tyrone Wheatley at Morgan State. The Morgan State University. Anyways.
There you go.
Steve Wilson at Howard. Sam Washington at North Carolina A&T. And Monty Coleman at Arkansas's Pine and Bluff. How do we feel about Eddie George coming to the coaching scene? Because he's not coming back from nothing. And a lot of the rumblings, Tristan, the first bit of rumblings were coaching. He's never had an interest. He never said anything about it. Now he wants to coach, and he's going to this level. How reminiscent? Because the first thing I thought about when I heard those comments, because nobody congratulated him off the bat. Right. That was the first thing they said.
Right.
But I mean, let's direct ourselves to the pro and talk about Steve Nash a little bit. How do we feel about that? And even more prolifically, what does it do for HBCU sports to have another NFL name attached to its coaching programs?
So I'm happy for Eddie George. I'm happy for Tennessee State. Um, I think it's just more, more paying attention to these HBCUs getting these high profile guys to be head coaches brings more attention to the players that are there, that are working hard to, possibly some of them want to be, NFL bound. So they're, having this kind of attention is awesome. My only reservation is basically the same with that everyone else has, is that I haven't seen him have an interest in coaching. Like when he retired, he went into theater, like he went into acting. You know what I'm saying? Like it, being on like Broadway and stuff. Like I never heard Eddie George in the conversation of, oh yeah, I want to coach. Like you knew Deion Sanders wanted to coach, and then he coached his son's high school team for a number of years. And as much as we criticize about Steve Nash and his situation, but at the same token, Steve Nash was at least on a coaching staff.
Yeah.
And the fact that he played the point guard position the way he played, point guards have it kind of like the quarterbacks on the basketball court. They have this brilliant mind. Um, not to say that Eddie George's mind isn't brilliant, but he played a more reactionary position playing running back. This is more like instincts and a feel for how you maneuver running the football. So for him to be coaching, I'm just like, okay, that's interesting. So I wish him well, but I can't fault anybody for having the same reaction because I did. Like I was like, oh, that was kind of interesting. Like my friend told me about it. Shout out to my guy Steve, my frat brother. He told me about it, and I thought he was making a joke, but it was real. Like I was like, oh, okay. But I'm happy for him. Happy for Tennessee State. Shout out to Tennessee State. All this good, publicity going to these schools, giving these, opportunities for these kids, these students, these athletes to get a chance to shine. I love it, man. I hope he's successful. I heard they're trying to get Rob Woodson as the DB coach there. I mean, so he's trying to get his staff. I mean, I'm not mad at it. Not mad at it at all.
What would that be if you show up to practice and Woodson's with?
Hey, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. So I love it. I mean, and like we said, we knew that something like this was going to really take place once we saw Deion Sanders really go all in for Jackson State. So hey, look, listen. All I want to see now is Jackson State versus Tennessee State. Let's put that on TV. I'd love to see it.
Let's see some winning. The names are great, but we got to see some winning.
Absolutely.
Before we win, the names going there is already winning.
Right.
That's the improvement. But once the numbers on the field start accumulating, this world will change.
Absolutely.
And specifically what's going on in our world today and all the news, and then we're not going to even get into that. And Dante, This is what we need to concentrate on. The positivity of our race. So this is good. Last but not least, Tristan, if we're sticking in the NFL, it was a hard decision, but the right decision for me and my family. And I'm honored and so proud to be retiring a Patriot. It's been the best 12 years of my life. That is Julian Edelman. He says bye to the National Football League. He will be retiring. He helped New England win 3 championships and was the MVP of Super Bowl 53. He announced his retirement in a video posted on social media Monday. Edelman, who turns 35 next month, you wouldn't guess it, was limited to 6 games last season because of chronic knee injury. He spent his entire 12-year career with the Patriots and ranked second in NFL history with 118 postseason receptions behind only the great Jerry Rice, who has 151.
That's right.
Edelman caps his career in second place on the all-time Patriots chart for reception 620 behind only Wes Welker. Oh my God, Wes Welker. You gotta be a true NFL fan to remember Wes Welker. That was a powerful dude. 672. Used to love Wes Welker. That's the only Patriot I think I ever really cared about that much. The name is skipping me right now. I'm looking right at him. We're going to keep going. I'll get there. He is on the team's career receiving yards list with 6,822 receiving yards behind only Stanley Morgan, 10,352, Rob Gronkowski, 7,861, and Welker at 7,459. How will we remember Julian Edelman. And how much did Tom Brady leaving and Rob Gronkowski leaving and him seeing everything that's going on in Tampa Bay, how much did that affect him? Because a couple of weeks ago, the rumbling was that he was going to go over there. That changed. How much did them leaving affect him and his psyche for a minute of being without them after being with them all those years?
Well, I'm gonna answer that second question first. So, as far as his psyche, I think it bothered him initially when it happened, like early last season. But then, as the season was going, he was just trying to do the best he can to be the Patriot, be the guy. And his body failed him. I truly believe that he'd play if his body would allow him to play. So I don't fault him on that aspect. Now, as far as how he would be remembered as an absolute gamer and an absolute dog. Like that is who. I mean, when Tom Brady needed it, when he needed it,
Whew, he was there.
It was there. Even when Gronk was there, when you really needed it, it was Jules. All the memorable catches. I'll still to this day, it still flashes clear. The Super Bowl against the Falcons, that ball tipping up, and he's just like literally grabbing it while it's falling to the ground, making sure it doesn't touch the ground, so it could be a catch. I mean, when Tom Brady needed it most, even when Gronk was there, and everybody know Gronk is a surefire Hall of Famer. When Gronk was there, when he needed it most, he went to Julian Edelman. I mean, and the thing that I respect about him is this guy never had scholarship at Kent State, drafted in the 7th round, and then people forgetting this because they think he did wide receiver all the time. No, first couple of years he was a special teamer. He played corner. He played safety. He blocked. I mean, he did everything. He was the Patriot. And you see in the subtext that we got is Julian Edelman a Hall of Famer, because that was a conversation all day today talking about that. And I don't know about Hall of Fame. I mean, I just feel like your body of work really has got to say something. I feel like people that are in the Hall of Fame, at some point, you were the best at your position. That's how I look at it. Like, that's how I grade the Hall of Fame. When I think of the position, at some point, you were the best. At some point in your era, you were the guy of the league at your position. And I don't feel that for Julian Edelman. But at the same token, I'm looking at he's definitely going to get in the Ring of Honor for the Patriots, for sure. He's probably going to get his jersey retired, for sure. 3-time Super Bowl champion, second in yards to Jerry Rice as far as playoff yards. Man was a dog, man, and an absolute gamer. That's definitely somebody I want on my team with the game on the line, for sure.
Yeah, when they started talking Hall of Fame, I was like, that's nice, but if this was like New England as a whole or the Patriots Hall of Fame, you got to put Julian Edelman there. He was the best guy and he wasn't even the best guy on his team. He was one of the best guys on his team during their dominance. The name that I had to get earlier because I'm putting down the law. The only Patriot I ever loved, Ty Law. Anyways,
my favorite Patriot was Teddy Bruschi.
Yeah. But so Hall of Fame was like, it's nice to talk. It was cute, but Julian Edelman is really he was just a player that we all could say one of the smallest guys on the field, talked the most trash, got up in your face, no matter who you was. I still don't know how the hell he got up after Cam Chancellor put that hit on him that he put on him.
He got up though,
and I swear in that Super Bowl he forgot what the heck he was doing. And for the next couple, and he balled out after that.
He did.
You could see him on the sidelines red. If we talking concussion protocol, I don't even think he went through it. I don't know how the hell he got up. That's where he got my respect. Because we both love Cam Chancellor. We both know what Cam Chancellor was capable of. And if you saw that hit, you just thought, okay, he's out for the rest of this game. He got up, he shook it off, he did whatever he prayed, he did whatever he had to do. And he came back out there and finished that game. And After that, I could say no more about Julian Edelman. I'm like, you get the whole title from me. But
For sure.
shout out to him. Last but not least, we pay homage to the great Kobe Bryant as today marks 5 years. Hey, in the words of Shaq, I challenged him to get 50. That MFer got 60. He got 60, the game winner, and it was Mamba out. And I don't think everybody always says they don't make him like Kobe anymore. But there is no they don't make him like Kobe anymore. They just can't create Kobe is just Kobe. That can never be another Kobe Bryant. Period.
I mean, one of a kind. I know for us, you and I, we still get a little emotional about it. Um,
Yeah.
one of a kind, one of a kind athlete, one of a kind mind, and the Mamba mentality is true and true. And I remember watching the game, and I remember shedding happy tears because I was just like, this is my favorite player, and watching him go out that way was only appropriate. Hitting the game-winning shot and everything was only right.
Both of us had to get up early in the morning when you stayed up and watched that game.
Absolutely. Was not missing that game for anything. Watched it I even watched the pregame. I mean, I wasn't missing any bit of that moment. So pregame and postgame. And I was hurting the next day, but it was worth it.
Shout out to Kobe Bryant. He will be forever missed. And in 40 seconds, because we went over 10, this is the end of Rolling with Rainbows episode 116. Do we make it 2 parts or we just move on to 17?
That's a good question. We'll have to discuss that in post.
We'll discuss that off the planet. I mean, off the record.
That's a good question.
Any questions, comments, or everybody just enjoying listening?
I think people were just listening and just enjoying what we had to say. So I'm rocking with that.
We will see you on Thursday. Tristan, be easy, dog. And I'm going to say it like I said every week. I don't care if it does not rhyme in his mind. I'm McKellar, Kevin McKell. Thursday, it is. We'll see you. Peace.
Peace.